Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another Crack the Sky Top 5's, the ASX Exchange Traded Funds, our Horizon View. The date is the 26th of the 3rd, 2019. So hang around today until the end because we have a spotlight today. We're going to have a closer look at the UBS IQ Morningstar Australia Dividend Yield ETF. The ticker code is DIV. So stick around to the end or jump to the end now to have a look at some more detail on this one. So today we had some more, I suppose, we had a little bit of movement up, I suppose. It's not a great deal, but we saw 0.07% up, closed at 62.13. Utilities, real estate, materials, and industries were up a little. On the commodity side, we saw modest jump in gold. Silver got a little bit more of a bump up. Platinum got a bit of a bump, and our crude and petroleum-related products are all pretty much up as well. So let's look at our top 5 percentage rises. Looks like a little bit of a Japan theme there. Quickly, we had HJPM, which is a Beta Shares Wisdom Tree, a Japan ETF. IJP is the iShares MSCI Japan ETF. 0000, is the Beta Shares Crude Oil Index ETF, and that's synthetic. Then we had QAG, which is the Beta Shares Agricultural ETF, and that's currency hedge and synthetic. And the next one we had up was food, and that was the Beta Shares Global Agricultural Companies ETF, and that's currency hedged as well. So that one tracks the NASDAQ Global Agricultural Companies, ex-Australia. So a bit of a Japan theme and people trying to move into commodities by the look of it. So agriculture focused. Moving on. You can see IHWL, CETF, CNEW, IHCB, and DIV. So IHWL is the iShares Core MSCI World All Cap Hedge ETF. And that one's a relatively new one. The first time I think I've seen it was yesterday. That one measures the performance of large, mid-cap and small capital stocks across developed markets. Those people who've been watching will know that the CETF is the VanEck Vectors China, Australia, VanEck Vectors AMC CSI 300 ETF, which is a mouthful, and that one tracks the China A stock market. Then we had CNEW, which is the China New VanEck Vectors ETF. So that one tracks the new economy type companies in China. IHCB, which is the iShares Core Global Corporate Bond. That's hedged to Australian dollar. So that one tracks fixed rate bonds issued by corporations in emerging and developed markets. And we had DIV, which is a UBS IQ Morningstar Australia Dividend Yield ETF. So that one's focused on high quality companies with strong financial health and the ability to pay a sustained and above average dividend payout. We'll look at that one a bit further later on. So we'll look at our top $5 rises now. Those people who have been watching or just a bit of interest in the ETF market will know that IHVV is the iShares S&P 500 ETF, and that's just hedged the Australian dollar. IJP, which is the iShares MSCI Japan ETF. Then we had IBV, which is the unhedged variant of the iShares S&P 500 ETF. That's one of the bigger ETFs in the Australian market. Then we had VAP, which is the Vanguard Australia Property Securities Index. That's a good little one if you're looking for some yield. We'll look at that in depth another day. IJR, which is iShares S&P Small Cap 600. So looking at the small capped part of the town in the American market. Moving on. Top $5 falls. We had IHCB, not a big change, below 1%. We had ETP, MPM, CETF, IHHY, IHWL. So IHCB is the iShares Core Australia Corporate Bond. Then we had ETPMPM, which is a mouthful in itself. And that's the ETF's physical precious metal basket. So that's backed by physical precious metals in HSBC in America. Then we had CETF, which is the Van Eck Vectors China AMC SCI 300 ETF, as described before. Then we had IHHY, which is, if I can find the information, the iShares Global High Yield Bond ETF. We went through that one before. That one looks at corporate bonds, fixed interest products as well. Then we had IHWL, which is the iShares Core MSCI World All Cap hedged to the Australian dollar. That measures performance of large, mid and small cap stocks across developed markets. So not a great deal of falls here, nothing scary anyway, sort of 1% or just below 1%. So let's have a quick look at our top 5 number of trades. We had QRE, VAS, STW, IEU, and BTS. The QRE is the British Shares S&P ASX 200 Resources Sector ETF. VAS was our Vanguard Australia Shares Index, focusing on the S&P ASX 300. STW is the State Street Spider S&P ASX 200 ETF. IEU is the iShares Europe ETF. That one tracks the results of the S&P Europe 350 index. BTS, which most people should know, is a Vanguard US Total Market Shares Index. So top 5 for volume. QRE, Asia, AAA, NDQ, and FAIR. So, as mentioned before, QRE is the beta shares S&P ASX Resources Sector ETF. Asia is the beta shares Asia Technology Tigers ETF, and that one tracks the top 50 technology and online retail stocks in Asia. AAA is the beta shares Australian High Interest Cash ETF. NDQ is the beta shares NASDAQ 100 ETF. So that one's good if you're looking for technology stocks in the US. FAIR is the beta shares Australia's Sustainability Leaders ETF. Moving on. Top 5 value. What have we got today? Probably some of the usual suspects, I should say. VAS is a Vanguard Australia Shares Index. AAA is our beta shares Australian High Interest ETF. Cash ETF, I should say. STW is a State Street Spider SP ASX 200 fund. VGE is the Vanguard FTSE Emerging Markets ETF. VHY is the Vanguard Australia Shares High Yield ETF. So if you're looking for some dividend yield, that's a good one to have a closer look at. So today we're turning the spotlight on the UBS IQ Morningstar Australia Dividend Yield ETF. This ETF provides exposure to equities of high quality Australian companies with strong financial health and ability to sustain above average dividend payouts. The companies must have a strong balance sheet and a sustainable competitive advantage as deemed by the Morningstar Equity Research Team. The index is typically consists of 25 stocks screened for the dividend yield. The index is constructed and rebalanced semi-annually, and the index is weighted according to the dividends paid out by each company. So the fund can be used by institutional investors, SMF investors, or retail investors, which what we are, is what we're talking about. So within that ETF, you'll get a diversified portfolio of good quality Australian equities. So today we're trading at 2021, which is pretty close to the net asset value. We had management costs for this ETF of 0.3%, which is pretty good. Distribution frequency is quarterly, so January, April, July, October. Dividend yield is 5.94%, which is pretty good. In my opinion, however, there are better investment options in the ETF market in Australia. You know, I'd like to see a higher dividend yield and also a stronger share appreciation. Since inception, this one hasn't really done much at all, so you're not going to get much uplift in share value if you buy this one. So, you know, maybe take a look at ZYAU or SYI or RDB. So calculating the net asset values down below, so $9,140,000 divided by the number of shares, which is 452,393, and you get 2020, which is very close to today's trading price. So the standard disclaimer, this is really for investment education, so we always need to do our own research and get additional. So because we're here to crack your financial sky. Woo! Education is king, and we want to get people more involved in investing. So If you like what I'm doing, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see the new videos coming up. Thanks. Bye.